welcome one and all. This is the last of the SAV sessions that I've been doing, the digital Lunchinars, and I've seen the SAVs have launched some of the new ones coming up as well. Today's a bit of a roundup over the last 5 sessions, and it's kind of a run through some of the tools that are available for anyone, but especially for non-profit organisations, because there's a lot of cool stuff you can get out there for, in some cases, free. In some cases, it's dirt cheap, and I'd highly recommend all of the tools that we're going to have a look at today. So, to give you a quick recap, what's a Lunchinar? Bite-sized learning, as Jamie said, it's completely free to attend, typically 30 to 40 minutes of information, a bit of a Q&A session, and normally a takeaway. Today's takeaway is the presentation, all the information. And all these Lunchinars are available to rewatch at any time on the Lunchinar website. Who am I and who is Ionic? I'm a multi-award winning micro agency. It's just me and a select few people that work together to create some pretty cool stuff. I've been in this field for over 15 years. I'm a local boy. I was born in Rochford Hospital, and I currently live in Rochford. I like working in the South End local area. Been working on lots and lots of different projects. It's been a really crazy couple of weeks for me because I'm going on holiday tomorrow. Yes. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't believe in trying to overcomplicate things, trying to keep it as simple as possible. If you need some technical answers, I can hopefully deliver them. If you want some just very basic answers, I can deliver them as well. So that's a quick roundup on me. Quick recap on the last couple of weeks. So we covered a bit of a digital marketing 101, some of the basics of digital marketing and how you can get started. Session 2 was all about websites. Session 3 was about interaction using social media. Session 4 was about search engine optimization and Google Ads. If you haven't had a look at that one, I'd certainly suggest going back to it. You can get up to $100,000 per month of free advertising throughout Google, so it's definitely worth looking at. And then the last session we did 2 weeks ago was about email marketing and how you can sort of build not only a list, but you get engagement through your website and to build an email campaign that can really work to help. As I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, you can rewatch any of these Lunchinars on the Lunchinar website. You can just go down to the bottom of the page, click on the collections, make a cup of tea or coffee or soft drink, whatever you might like, sit back and learn. So today we're going to run the top of the pops, and I did think about putting the top of the pops theme tune in the background, have some flashing lights, but I thought I haven't got time for that. So we're going to have a look over some of the tools and platforms that anyone can use to really supersize your digital marketing efforts. Hopefully there's something for everyone. And if not, I've got some links to some other websites that you might be able to find something on. So I say top 20, maybe about 30. But we'll try and blitz through them as quickly as we can. Let's start with a really cool one. Now, personally, I used to hate Canva. But I've become a big lover of it in recent times for 2 reasons. One, you can build some really cool interactive images and videos that can be used across social media. You can design other things like posters and graphics, probably not anything designed to go to print. They're not as good a quality. But one of the best things about it, for charities, for non-profits, it's completely free. So the pro version is normally £100 per year. If you sign up to it as a non-profit, you get it for free. And that's the full version for free. There's not many people that do that. Canva is if I had to pick a top one, it'd probably be the top one. Right, next on the list, Adobe Express. It's a bit like Canva, but a bit smaller. It's cloud-based. You can have an app on your phone. You can have an app on the desktop. You can create some social media stuff with it. It's kind of Adobe's attempt to interfere with Canva because they see Canva as a big competitor in terms of the digital design space. So Adobe have launched this. I think there's a lot of stuff to come from it. It's not quite ticking all the boxes just yet, but they do have some hefty discounts on it. Based per user, you can save £120 per year. It's a more premium tool. It's not free, but it's there as an option. Next, I've asked, hopefully everyone has got internet protection or security on their devices. If you haven't, or if it needs to be upgraded anytime soon, please have a look at Avast. They offer really good non-profit discounts. You can get a 36-month license. which works out saving about £140 a year. So really, really key, important to make sure you're secure. The level of security that they offer for the non-profits is really, really good. And it doesn't just cover antivirus, it also gives you anti-phishing, gives you malware protection, all sorts of other stuff. So certainly one to have a look at. Now we kind of venture more into email and documents and to a degree productivity. So there's two key players in sort of this area. One is Microsoft, one is Google. I'm covering Microsoft in a minute. Google Workspaces, which has had various names over the years, G Suite, Google Suite, all sorts of different things. It's their equivalent of the Microsoft 365 package, which allows you to use your domain name and have customized email addresses, but use the full suite of Google products, again, for free. So that you save about £120 per user per year. You can have unlimited number of users. I've got charities that I work with that have got 5-6 users. I've also got charities that have got 400 users. It's all free. It's a really, really cool platform. I'm a massive advocate of the Google platform. I personally prefer it to the Microsoft one, but it's horses for courses. But you also get a whopping 100 terabytes of storage per person as well, which if you ever reach that level, you've got other problems. But there's a lot of storage space, and they've got some great collaboration tools. So you can have things like Google Drives, which you can share amongst people. So if you've got a collaborative environment where maybe not everyone's on site, you can use the Google Drive facility to share those files. That's a really cool platform. So likewise, Microsoft 365, which has become the de facto standard for most businesses, also offer a non-profit version. Now you get 10 users for free, and that's the full version for free. So you can get a desktop version of Word, Excel, PowerPoint. You've got access to Exchange, SharePoint, Teams, and OneDrive. You only get about a terabyte of cloud storage per person, but don't be wrong, terabyte's still really good. The important factor is 10 users for free. After that, they do discounts, but for a lot of small organizations, Microsoft will work really well, and it gives you all the support of things like Teams that you can use as a collaborative tool for chatting with people, etc. And things like SharePoint, if people are not aware of what it is, it works alongside their OneDrive package, which allows you to share files amongst people, a bit like Dropbox does, a bit like the Google Drive stuff does. But it allows you to also have version history. You can delegate access to certain folders to certain people and have quite a lot of restrictions over it. But most of these platforms are all cloud-based, so it's all secure and backed up 24/7. Right, so that's sort of productivity office stuff. Grammarly is really cool. I mean, you can get a free version, but also for non-profits, you can get the premium version cheaper. Grammarly is great for just writing anything, whether it be writing content for your website, whether it be writing a blog, whether it be writing a letter, whether it be writing a social media post. You can copy and paste stuff into it. You can choose things like tone of voice. You can choose sort of the target audience, things like that, and it will help you write content and it will guide you on what's right and what's wrong. And I've certainly found over the years that what I would phrase something as, which isn't the right phrase in its own right, how I would phrase something isn't actually necessarily the right way. And Grammarly really helps you to reword things and rewrite things. And no, it does. It helps with grammar, helps with spelling, helps with style, and it's got a cool feature for plagiarism, which is a key factor in some of the search engine optimization stuff we covered the other week. Never, ever, ever plagiarize content from another platform. You can use something for reference, but please reword it, rephrase it, and make it unique to you. But their plagiarism check is really good because it'll also tell you what the authoring site is for that content that Google will see. Google Analytics, it's free. It always will be free. It is the #1 platform for analyzing data about visitors coming to your website. They recently, within the last 18 months, released something called GA4, which is their newest version, which replaced Google Universal Analytics, which came about off the back of sort of various GDPR-related issues about tracking people and activity. In the field, there's a lot of mixed opinions about if GA4 is better or worse than Universal Analytics. It tracks things in a different way, so it's really difficult to sort of cross-compare data old to new. But without going into the technical side of it, you really, really should be using this on your website to track all visitor activity. It's completely free. It's really simple to do. I think there's about 4 lines of code that you have to copy across. So it's a really cool tool. Image libraries, Pexels and Unsplash are 2 completely free image libraries. What do I mean by a free image library? Well, if you're putting anything online, you can't simply go to Google image search for what you want, copy and paste it, and play it off as your own. It doesn't work. If the image that you've taken is copyrighted, and there are lots and lots of companies out there that are using these tools at the moment to identify who's plagiarized your picture, or if you've plagiarized someone else's, and they will also send you a bill for it. I had a client phone me up 2 days ago. They've got a blog on their website. They uploaded something to it a couple of months ago. They've been sent a bill for £350 for use of a photo that they took from Google Images because they thought it was okay. It's not okay. Please, please don't do it. Pexels and Unsplash, 2 platforms. They're free based on certain criteria, but for most people they're free. But please check it out first. And you can search on them for pretty much anything. The quality of the images is very good in terms of pixel resolution. The quality of them in terms of finding what you want isn't always great, but generally speaking, you can find something that will work really well. But please never take anything from Google directly. Right, so this skips back. Sorry, I know it's listed in no particular order, but we skip it back a few bits. Email marketing, which is something we covered the other week. So there's two tools that I've included here. One is Campaign Monitor. Now it's really difficult to gauge how much money you could save. I've put there save £100, but it depends actually on how many emails you send out and how you intend on using it. I would say Campaign Monitor is my go-to tool for any email marketing. It's really, really simple to use. It's got a great drag and drop editor. It's got loads and loads of templates that you can use and then just customize with your logo and things like that. You can build some really cool automations in it. It's completely free to sign up for. You can sign up for it. You can sort of trial it. You can send some test emails without having to pay a penny. It's only at the point you actually want to deliver an email out to your potential audience that you have to pay for it. But it's a great tool. I can't speak highly of it enough. It's also really easy to integrate into your website. It will generate 2 things, either a little pop-up form that you can collect people's data, or you can have a link that goes to a separate website that you can collect people's data. So really, really easy to integrate as well. Next on the list is MailChimp. This is kind of the alternative to Campaign Monitor. Some people prefer this, some people prefer the other. I certainly prefer Campaign Monitor, but MailChimp is still a really good tool. I don't think the user experience is as good as Campaign Monitor, but it has got a lot of benefits. And yeah, being realistic, they all do much the same thing. With MailChimp, they offer a flat 15% discount of all their prices to non-profits. So it's there as an alternative. Now we jump to printing. Now, I appreciate that this isn't necessarily related to digital marketing, but in all the campaigns that I look after for people, there's always an element of print. Now, if you haven't heard of them, Solar Press is a Southend-based business. They've been running for over 20 years, and they do a lot to support local, especially charities. They offer a flat 10% discount across every single product they do, and they also have the option for VAT exemption as well. It's really simple to do. solarpress.com/charity. You sign up your details there. You get an account manager give you a call back, and we'll guide you through the whole process. So they're really good. I use Solarpress for 95% of the printing I do. I won't lie, every now and then you get a little blip with the service. Sometimes deliveries don't happen quite when they're supposed to, but we're all in the hands of delivery companies. But the quality is always really good, and it's nice and convenient because it's local. So jumping to social media, a couple of tools related to social media, Hootsuite being one of them. You can, as it says there, design, schedule, and publish content. It's got a really easy user interface where you can select calendar dates. You can schedule things for days, weeks, months, years in advance. It's used as a really good tool. If you're struggling with time, one of the worst things you can do is start posting social media at 11 o'clock at night when you think you've got the time, because actually these things work as a timeline. So by the time that the people come to look at content in social media, i.e. Facebook's timeline, your content's so far down because loads of people have posted about what breakfast they've had and stuff like that. So what you can use is a Hootsuite to your advantage to schedule posts to go out at a certain time. So you can use that time that you might have at 11 o'clock in the evening to schedule posts over the next couple of days, which buys you back a little bit of time to make sure that your posts are relevant and seen at the right time. It is a good tool. Hootsuite can actually be really expensive. Now they offer a discount, but it's still actually quite expensive to have as a tool. However, Buffer is its alternative. Now, Buffer is a great little platform, especially for nonprofits. You can post to 3 social media channels for free. And that's the full version of the application for free. So if you're posting to Instagram, to LinkedIn, to Facebook, there's your 3 covered. As soon as you want to add the 4th, you can, and you can add as many as you want, but then it starts to creep up in costs. It's still not fortunes. They do have discounts that help you save money. I've put there, it's about £60 per year. I think that's based on having 5 channels. So it's not fortunes, but if you've got 3 or less channels, it's the one to go for. Right, graphic design. Now, Creative Cloud, Adobe released a couple of years ago, and basically they took their real high-level software that used to cost thousands of pounds a year in subscriptions. They brought that down and put it into like a monthly package that you can subscribe to. Now, it gives you things like Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and some video and audio editing tools like After Effects and Premiere Pro. Most of them, and I don't mean to sound negative, but if you haven't got the experience of using it, you'll never want to touch it because it's got buttons that do everything everywhere. It's a very complex system to use. However, if you do, you can save almost £600 a year using the non-profit discounts. Not only that, but they do also have a large library of stock images that you can get discounted. They've got a whole load of templates, and they've got an entire font library. So if you're looking to really mix things up a little bit, have a look at some of the fonts and some of the images that are there, but you can save quite a bit of money. So I feel a bit like Martin Lewis when he does his money show. Okay, next slide. Right, sorry. Back into it. Online meetings. Now, look, we're using one. Zoom. It's everyone's favourite. It's the lockdown favourite. No one really knew of it before lockdown. It's a great platform for holding virtual meetings, webinars, anything you want to collaborate on. They've got some extra tools now that you can share screens. They've got an AI engine that can integrate with it. You can do screen recordings. You can do some really clever stuff. They offer a flat 50% discount for nonprofits. You can still have the free version, but you're limited to, I think it's now 30 minutes per session before you have to jump off and reconnect. But if you're looking to hold regular or longer sessions, you can sign up for it and get a 50% discount. Some of the productivity tools. So Meta Workplace. Now, most people wouldn't think of this, but Facebook that is one of the byproducts of Meta. Let me rephrase that. Meta is the umbrella company that manages Facebook and Instagram. A couple of years ago, they introduced a platform that they called Workplace, which is like a business communication platform. Now, I don't know if it would be too relevant for a lot of small local-based nonprofits, but actually, it's got a lot of stuff in it that can be really useful, especially if you've got Facebook groups that you manage and things like that. You can start to integrate them into it, have it as a centralized platform for increasing productivity. It's just like using Facebook, but for your company. So unlike LinkedIn is the business version of Facebook, this is a company-specific version of Facebook. So you just look at timelines from people that are within your company. But something to look at, but for nonprofits, it's completely free. Slack. I love Slack. It's a really good tool, especially if you're not using any Microsoft products, because it's an alternative to Microsoft Teams. It's free for up to 250 people, which covers most. And this is for nonprofits only. Otherwise, it's a paid platform. It kind of uses the best of a lot of other tools into one. So things like WhatsApp groups, Google Chats. It builds them into one platform, and it's called Slack. It's not been around for very long, but it's grown very, very quickly. You can do instant messaging on it. You can create spin-off groups. You can do voice. You can do some video stuff. But the really cool thing about it is you can integrate a whole load of add-ons. So if you've got documents that you want to collaborate, you can actually put them into Slack and use that as a sort of central repository for people to be able to access it. And likewise, you can do polling stuff on it. There's some also some really good Slack channels out there that you can join for free that talk about all different manner of subjects, including digital marketing. I've got a few that I follow. There's people from all around the world put comments in on certain activities. It's quite interesting. So it's a really good thing. And as I say, for up to 250 people, it's completely free. Um, I love LastPass. It's a really useful tool for remembering passwords. Now, look, hands up, I've got so many passwords, I don't know where most of them are. Well, sorry, I didn't know where most of them are. I do now, they're all in LastPass. It's a really great platform for storing anything you want to store securely. It's completely free to use. You get a little widget that connects into your browser, and every time you go to an online form, you can choose to autofill the details. Now, you might think, well, actually, Microsoft does that for me, Google does it for me. That's all very good, but they only do it in their own platforms. What LastPass does is does it for all of them. So if you're using Microsoft Edge, if you're using Internet Explorer, if you're using Firefox, Chrome, any of the tools, LastPass sort of unifies all your data in one place so that it can be accessed in various places. You just have one master password that you need to remember. You can also share things securely. So if you need to share a password with someone, you can do that via LastPass, and you can actually do it without them seeing what the password is as well, which is a really nice feature. And it's free. Right, next, Asana, which is probably a scary word. No one's ever heard of it before. But it's a really good project management tool. So if you've got some projects up and coming, and you're thinking, how are we going to collate all this information? We could use a Word document. We could use an Excel spreadsheet. Don't have a look at Asana. It's really, really good for project management. You can invite loads of different people. They don't have to be in the same organization. They could be all over the place. But you can create centralized tasks and then subtasks of tasks and subtasks of subtasks of tasks. So you can create a really granular approach to managing projects. You can add dates, you can assign people, you can upload documents, you can upload images, you can have a look at progress. It has like a Kanban board which you can move things across. It's a really good central visualization tool so that I use it for some of the projects that I'm involved in. So every now and then we can have a meeting to run through things, look at it as a whole, say, right, where are we in this project without having to open up a whole load of different documents. So it's a really useful tool. And the added bonus is it's completely free for non-profits. Scaling back down a little bit, so Asana is really good for large projects. For smaller projects, Trello is a fantastic tool and it's free. Now, I use Trello day to day. It's a Kanban board, which if people aren't quite familiar with the approach, you basically have a whole load of columns across the page and you can identify what those columns are. But you can you then create cards within those columns. So you could have a sort of pending work to do completed columns. You can create cards, you can assign people into those cards, you can do all sorts of clever things with those cards, including some automation, and then you can move them across. So it's kind of like a visual representation of moving things across the screen, which is effectively like writing a list and then ticking things off. It's a really cool thing to do. But it helps, mentally, it helps me certainly to feel like I've achieved something in a day. So yeah, the add-ons and the sort of the power-ups they call them within Trello can be really clever, and you can do lots of cool things. So if you've got certain columns that are associated to certain people within the project, anytime a card is moved into that particular column, they get an automatic notification to say, hey, there's a new activity, there's a new task. And when the deadline's approaching, they get another notification to say, hey, have you done this yet? And you can add notes into those cards that can be reviewed. So a really nice tool. Well, that's 20 that we've covered. Now, I hope there's a little bit for everyone. I've tried to keep it as a bit of a mixed bag, but there's some other platforms you can have a look at. Now, Fiverr, if you haven't heard of it, I feel like I just say these are all great tools. This is a great tool. On Fiverr, you can find someone to do pretty much anything within reason. It used to be for a $5, and most of them are for a $5. But you get a lot of add-ons. So it could be that, and I'll give you a use case. A couple of weeks ago, one of my clients wanted a new recording on their phone system to push one for this, push two for that. Now, I've got a face for radio, and I've got a voice for silent films. So I'm not one to do that recording. However, what we did find was a really good voiceover artist that was based on Fiverr. We gave her a script, she gave us a price, and we've got now a fully fledged recording on the phone system that in total costs something like £7.80. And it's professional quality. It's really, really good. So there's opportunity to find people to help you do some little tasks that you might not be able to do internally. So it's definitely worth having a look. Digital Candle is you're kind of a bit like what I've been doing with these sessions. They offer free digital advice, and they're also very good at putting people with companies. So if you've got a particular project, like you want to develop an app, maybe, well, actually, if you speak to Digital Candle, they'll have a library of people that might be able to help with that. So you can, yeah, if you've got specific projects, you can link up with them. They're very useful. Another one is In Kind Direct. They look at putting partnerships together between charitable organisations and corporate entities. So if you're looking for a specific type of corporate that you want to be involved in, actually In Kind Direct will be able to do that introduction. Another feature that In Kind Direct have got on their website is I suppose you could call it like an eBay for non-profits. So what happens is when corporates are looking to get rid of some of their equipment, they will load it onto In-Kind Direct, and then organisations have the opportunity to bid on it and to purchase stuff. So it could be computers, could be phone systems, other hardware. There's not always a great amount on there. I don't look all that regularly, but every now and then there's some really good stuff. So certainly one to have a look at. Which takes us on to the next slide. Now, over all of the previous 5 sessions, we've spoken about AI in some form. Now, I've spoken a lot about ChatGPT and how useful it can be, but actually, even over the last couple of months, things have changed in the field quite a lot. You've got Gemini, which is a Google product. You've got Copilot, which is a Microsoft product, and you will start to see them appear more and more. And actually, they all pretty much do the same thing. You can ask the AI engine to do a task, whether it be write a letter for you, do this, do that, and it will be able to respond to you. But be careful in using it. I don't want to say don't use it, but just be careful in using it and make sure you check the results because they might not be factually correct. Certainly in the case of ChatGPT, unless you're paying for the premium version, they won't actually be that recent. And I can almost guarantee that they'll be Americanized as opposed to being UK based. So use them. They're there as a friend, but just be a bit wary of them. And hardware, I spoke about the In-Kind platform. Well, actually, if you look at Dell and Lenovo as 2 examples, they offer a 10% discount for non-profits, and they've got a whole load of consultation services that they can help you to identify what you might need and to get the best price for you. So they're certainly worth having a look at there. And also, it's not Dell specifically, but you can look at the complete range of Dell products on Amazon that are reconditioned. This tends to be, again, corporate entities that are looking to refresh the hardware. They tend to do it on a sort of 2 to 3 year rotation. Now, some of these PCs have barely been used. They've all been completely reset, factory reset. They all have Windows 11 on them, but you can actually pick up some quite decent spec computers. 150 quid. They're certainly worth looking at. So yeah, don't forget your hardware. And then kind of last but not least is Charity Digital. Now, I had a really good conversation with the guy from Charity Digital. It is a platform that is free to sign up for nonprofits. You obviously have to prove that you're a nonprofit, but most of the information that I've given you today has come from the Charity Digital website. They have a whole library of tools, platforms, assets that are available to charities, and they will become your sort of in between, especially with some of the software like Microsoft and like Adobe, where you have to prove your charity status. Charity Digital is the platform that you use to do that. So please sign up to it. It's really good. Now, it was Joel that I spoke to at Charity Digital, and he kind of gave a lot of useful insights, but his main takeaway from everything is always, what's the nonprofit rate? Please don't be afraid to ask it. Anyone you're dealing with, I suppose it goes back to the old tradesman. What's the price for cash? What's the price for non-profit? Don't be afraid to ask for money off. The worst anyone will ever say is no. And on that note, we're back to our question and answer session. Now I can see that there's 18 notes in the chat there. Wow, there's a lot of people on as well. So how do you want to do this, Jamie? Do you want to run through them? Do you want me to run through them as well?
No, that's perfectly fine. Thank you, Dan. And thanks for covering that presentation and going through all of the tools that are available. Apologies for the office; it's a bit noisy at the moment. But we had a lot of conversations in the chat, in the Zoom chat, and Joel and a few of the others were suggesting a few other tools that people can use and some alternative options, and also reinforcing some of the things that you were saying as well, Dan. So if I can hand over the question part to you, just because the office is a little loud, I think that might be best. I don't think there's any questions in the chat that haven't been covered by other people. So if anyone needs to ask a question, please feel free to put your hand up, and I'm sure Dan will be able to cover that for you.
I see Dale's just put on there about Pixabay. Again, another great platform for getting free resources. I'm just looking through some of these. Yes, it's great to see that people have been using some of the tools. I didn't realize that Adobe Express has got a scheduling tool in it. So you've got the option there of Adobe Express, you've got Hootsuite, you've got Buffer, they all pretty much do the same thing. I like people like Trello. It's a really cool system. No, I don't think there's any questions to say. I don't think there's any questions that haven't been asked. People per hour, that's a good shout. Very, very similar to Fiverr. You can put projects online and people can bid for them. That's really good. Great. And Joel, thanks. I didn't realize you were joining. Thanks for giving some feedback on there. But no, I haven't really got anything. Unless anyone's got any questions, feel free to raise your hands if you have. If not, I don't want to hold you back from your lunch. Get a sandwich in. I've just seen Hamilton's comment there about AI and SEO is a very good point. You can use AI tools, but be very, very wary of the content of them. And certainly anything that you're thinking of using that's been generated by AI, I'd be tempted to put through Grammarly for the plagiarism checker to see, if that content has been plagiarized and how it's been plagiarized.
I do have a question, if that's all right, Dan, around when the charities ask for proof that you're a charity, or what's the submission process for people like in tools like Canva or Adobe in terms of accessing non-profit discounts? Is there anything that they need to type? Is there a bit of blurb that people have to provide? Or is it just providing a registration charity certificate?
All the platforms are slightly different, and I'm sure Joel will be able to answer more about that than I would. Now, registering through Charity Digital is great because they give you referral links. I know that Google uses a platform called Tech something, and I'm hoping someone will prompt me to remind me. But there's a few tools that you can sign up for that you'll need your charity registration number, etc. Once you've then registered for those key platforms, a lot of the other software providers use those as a verification tool. So once you're verified on those few, Charity Digital being one of them, you can then be automatically verified. There we go. TechSoup, that was the one I couldn't think of. So Joel's just replied in the chat there. TechSoup is one to register with, and Google uses a platform called Percent. So, but the nice thing is when you go to sign up for any of these platforms, it will say, please enter your TechSoup or your Percent login details. If you haven't got them, that's the point that you can then go and sign up for them. And they're pretty quick and easy to sign up for. A lot of them, the verification process, they're not quite automated, but they're very, very quick processes for people to do.
Perfect. Thank you, Dan. We've had a question from Francesca saying, do you have any recommendations for booking platforms? I assume you mean event bookings, Francesca?
If event booking, I'd probably look at something like Eventbrite. It's a nice, simple platform, but I don't think they do a free model anymore. The other one to look at is maybe Calendly, depending on the type of session that you're looking to book. I use Calendly as a booking system. If someone just wants to book a meeting with me, that might be an option. Joel's also just put in the chat there about partners require organisations to be based in the UK and hold charity status. Sorry, to hold charitable status to be considered for discounts, which is a very, very good point. Unfortunately, not everyone can sign up for them. You've got to be a bit careful about making sure you're fully verified.
Perfect. I hope that answers your question, Francesca. And thank you, Joel, for commenting in the chat again. Hamilton has asked, are there any recommendations for an online system for selling raffle tickets and monthly donations? Has anyone tried Zephy, Zephy.com?
I've not tried Zephy, but I follow a company online that does a lot of charity-based auctions, and they use a company called Raffle, which I think is spelled Raffal or something around that. I think they offer quite good charity rates. Yeah, I'll put the link in the chat here so people can have a look at it. I can't say I've used it personally, but I've certainly bought tickets for a raffle through it that was for a charity. So I think it's quite a trusted platform. But it's good. I like that people have been interactive with this. Oh, what's that one from Joel? Idloom? Great for event planning. Love it. I feel like I should do another session in a couple of weeks' time. That's the top 40 platforms because I feel like we're
Yeah,
going to have a lot more to add on to it.
yeah, you got to expand the list. I think just from the chat alone, you've got at least 40, 50 extra platforms in there. So yeah, it's fantastic to see everyone sharing in the chat. So thank you for everyone putting your suggestions in there as well. Is there any other questions for Dan at all? No? I think that's it. You've done a fantastic job. Tim has said, Dan, just to say thanks for doing all of these sessions, loads of leads and suggestions for me to follow up.
Great. I'm glad they've been useful. And look, my viewpoint is yeah, if anyone just has one little thing to take away from it that improves productivity, helps them save a little bit of money, it's fantastic. I'm all for it. I think a lot of people get missed out with the sort of the third sector. So if there's anything we can offer, I'm glad we can.
Wonderful. And thank you, Dan, as well, from us here at SAV for partnering with us to kind of deliver these sessions for the sector. I'm sure that everyone has found them extremely helpful. I know we've had a few thanks in the chat already. But yeah, we really appreciate your support to kind of showcase some of the tools and services that charities can offer and how to access them too. So thank you.
It's great. Thank you very much. Right. Well, I'll leave you all to it. I'll leave you to enjoy the lunch, and I shall see you all soon.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.